Greetings, everyone. This is Arletta coming live and direct from Arletta Unleashed. Just my volume. And I'm once again happy to be here. Can you believe it? 3 days in a row. Oh my goodness. Um, it's been a lot of fun getting back into posting now that I've thoroughly opened myself up to selling myself and have just been having tons of fun doing what I always want to do, but doing it with ease and joy as opposed to struggle with a whole bunch of stress. It's been great. It's been great. So what I wanted to share today was I was telling you about this phenomenal, awesome reading that I had gotten over the Thanksgiving holiday or whatever from my sister. And one of the last things that I was told was that I could now give myself permission to get rid of the rest of my labels. Now, I would call myself, prior to this reading, a pretty labelless person. I'm a former Muslim and a former feminist and a former black activist and a former, I don't know, misogynist was one. And some other formers. And so I don't really claim too much of anything now. But my sister's guide told me there were some other labels that I have applied to myself that I could get rid of. And I want to share those with y'all because in thinking about it, it was like even these are confining and contain me and my spirit and my energy and cause me more outwardly focused and inwardly motivated and kind of interfere with my full connection with spirit. So I'm going to tell y'all. So this is what spirit told me. Spirit told me that the label that I carry, that I have it all figured out, I could let go of that. Now, I don't know about y'all, but if you haven't learned anything from my blog, you know I don't have it all figured out. I'm figuring it out. That's part of the fun, right? So anyway, but I guess in a way that is definitely reflective of my energy. I come off like I got it all figured out, even though I don't. Anyway, the label being smart. I don't have to be smart no more, y'all. Could just be Arletta. And that's a label I've always carried. I thought it was a good label, but even that can be confining because sometimes you don't want to be smart. Sometimes you aren't smart. And sometimes it just doesn't matter one way or another. It's irrelevant. But in trying to stay smart, imposes unnecessary limits and challenges. Another one's I don't have to be gifted. That's another label I've always carried, I think, most of my life. And a lot of times it can be a burden. You find yourself in too many situations where you're trying to prove that this is the case. And then you also, or I also, have felt like when I wasn't recognized as such that it diminished my sense of self-worth. And once again, I'm looking for affirmation of my worth outside of myself. So I don't have to be gifted no more. I don't have to be a genius at anything. And ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to be a genius. And as I've gotten older, I've shifted my definition of genius. And so I do think I have some areas of genius, but I could just be Arletta. No more genius. No more genius. Another one was I don't have to be an advice giver anymore. And I don't even know when I started giving advice. It was like when I was young, I always had this awareness, which I later realized was part of my clairvoyance or psychic ability, which is another thing that I'm about to get rid of. Anyway, that label. And so I always found myself giving people advice. It's kind of like I got a feel for what was going on and I got a feel for what they needed to hear. And so I would tell them. And then I guess over time, it was also in a way for me trying to prove to myself my sense of self-worth. Like I have value to offer someone as opposed to just being me. And so I no longer have to be an advice giver. Just be Arletta. And I don't have to be knowledgeable. And that's one thing I've always taken pride in. That's definitely a label that I carried. You know, I know a lot about a lot of things. I know a little about everything. But I could let all that go too. I could just not know shit about something before I could do. Nobody knows. And once again, I no longer have to tie that into my sense of self-worth. Um, and psychic. I don't go around calling myself psychic, but I guess in a way it is a label I attribute to myself. Not only that, but it's something that I feel uncomfortable or guilty around. Um, I don't know, because I feel like it's pretentious to go and say that you have this particular skill or ability, especially when I believe that everyone is psychic. I believe it's a natural part of the human experience. Some are more than others, and whether or not you choose to tap into it. So I've always felt very uncomfortable. So not only did I have it as a label, but I had it as a label that made me feel uncomfortable. So we definitely gonna get rid of that one. And that's it. So I've released those labels. I could just be me. And what I was told, and I'm looking at my notes here, was that it's time in stepping into this field of all possibilities I was talking about yesterday. Was that I could allow myself, whenever I choose, to be different personalities and have different lives and different experiences. So once I get rid of all the labels, I could just be whatever that calls for it. And the other reason for the labels was that this was my attempt to make myself feel important and feel that I had some value, as opposed to just really being in touch and connected with just me being me is of immense value. Even if it's just immense value to no one but myself. And that's the only thing that matters. So I don't have to prove any of these things to anyone. I don't have to prove that I'm successful. And that's a huge one. I don't have to prove that. I could just be me. It almost makes me want to cry. That's so relieving, but yeah. So yeah, it's time to peel off the labels. Pull them off. All of them. Get rid of them. And just let you emerge. And you will surprise yourself at how much you like that person. And that's all I have to say. So until next time, probably tomorrow, I'm not sure. I will see you then. Smooches. Love y'all. Peace.